Imagine sitting in a city that never truly sleeps, behind glass walls that half the truth. Each morning thousands file into the high towers of every one of them visible burdens, some heavier than others. But if you looked closer, you'd find a woman, Ava Reed. Ava's before dawn, in a modest apartment, still humming with the echoes of the night. She ties her hair back, studies her face in the mirror, a face she's learned to do with pride, though she knows some their own filters. Her suit, crisp, understated armor, her coffee, more necessity than ritual. By the time she steps onto the subway, she's already rehearsing her lines, checking her shields, ready to enter the polished fortress that is Sterling & Co. To most, Ava is just another name on the department roster. To a few, she's a steady hand, quiet, competent, always meeting deadlines. Our stories the elevators don't carry, stories of answers held too long, jokes that land like cuts, meetings where her voice drifts, and above it all, the gaze of one man, Edward Sterling, the CEO. Charismatic, revered, Ava, a daily test she can swallow and still stand tall. She's not looking for a fight. She wants respect, opportunity to become more than the background. But in this city, in these towers, justice comes softly. And as the week unfolds, so does the silent war that break her or force her to become something even she'd expect. Chapter 1. The Everyday Illusion is all marble and glass, a place where light bends and reflections multiply, distorting what's real. Ava swipes her badge, offers the practice smile to security, and joins the stream of ambition flowing toward the elevators. Ours runs on it's a progressive company, diverse, inclusive, forward-thinking. The website boasts mentorship, programs, and a culture of belonging. Ava knows feels like to sit in meetings where her are repackaged by someone else's voice, earning nods Ava receives. She knows the weight of being told to speak up more by managers who never look her way until something goes wrong. Today is Monday. Her inbox is already a battlefield. Requests from forget her name, urgent no thank, and a calendar stacked with meetings designed to test her patience. She moves morning, getting more done 3 hours than some manage in a day. The hallway, a budget review, that she catches a glimpse. Edward, he moves differently than shouldered, smile sharp, aura that passes crowds without effort. He's surrounded by his usual circle, a VP with a booming laugh and a clutching an iPad, a junior manager, eager. Ava keeps her eyes forward, but Sterling's gaze flickers to her just for a moment. It's enough to remind her of last Thursday when she'd stayed late to finalize a presentation and overheard him mention her name in a way that didn't right. She's not sure what he meant or why her skin still cools at the memory. Inside the usual cast assembles. The meeting begins. Ava watches as her data slides are introduced by someone else. She offers a correction, soft, professional, but the room moves on. Later, her phone buzzes, a message from HR about the new diversity initiative, asking her to be a spokesperson. A familiar mix of pride and exhaustion wells up. Her face, her story, her time. Will they hear her eyes, her warnings, her truth? Lunch comes and goes, the hours dissolving in a blur of numbers and just one more thing emails. By later, she glances at the city outside, wondering how much of herself she's lost to the rhythm of fitting in. But as the sun drops and the office begins to, Ava is still at her desk, her resolve sharpening. Injustice here doesn't hostility. It's softer but relentless, like water wearing down stone. She tells herself she'll leave in 5 minutes, but she knows she won't. Not yet. Ava can't quite let go. It's nearly 7 p.m. The floor is half lit and the sounds of the begin eyes through the windows. Ava's eyes burn from the glow of her screen as she finishes the quarter work that should have been split. 3 people quietly landed into last week's meeting. The clock again. Tells herself she'll go soon. That's when she sees the email. Subject, urgent, review needed. Tonight, it's her department manager. No thanks. Just a file, ASAP. Ava bites her lips open the attachment. Spreadsheet, a mess, full of errors. Please clean this up and send to Mr. directly. Need AM tomorrow. She sighs, her jaw clenched. This is a project. It's not even department. But it's not the rolled downhill like this. Remembers a similar favor just last month when she for a colleague and one of the executive team barely nodding in her direction. She could say no, but she's not new here. She knows what happens to the people who say no. As she begins the cleanup, a message pops up from a friend in HR. "Hey Ava, call you real quick?" Ava hesitates. "Hey, what's up?" A nervous pause. "I know you're probably slammed, but there's something you should see. It's about that new diversity committee. They want to name you as chair, but, well, you should just look at the memo. And, be careful. Someone's pushing hard to make it look your idea." Ava hangs up and opens the attached memo. Her eyes reads. The language is all wrong. Corporate speak twisted to sound like personal initiative. Phrases she never uses, claims she never made. A line jumps out. Special to Ava Reed for her leadership championing this initiative. Her fingers around her mouse. Remembers her brief suggestion months ago, just a comment in passing about how the company could do more. Someone's run with building a campaign around her without so much as a conversation. She looks around the office, suddenly feeling exposed. Was this why Sterling's gaze lingered last week? Is this how they reward silence? By turning it into a tool? Her phone buzzes again. Another email. This from Edward Sterling himself. Appreciation. Ava, I'm hearing great things about your contributions to the new initiative. Let's discuss soon. E.S. A chill runs through her. She hasn't done anything yet, but it seems the story is already being written, without her, and perhaps against her. Ava considers replying, so the record straight, but as she hovers over the keyboard, doubt creeps in. Everett feels dangerous. Every choice, a trap. She glances down at the spreadsheet. Still a mess, unfinished. The sea glimmers outside, indifferent. She closes her eyes, fighting the urge to scream, and wonders how much longer she can carry the burden of everyone else's expectations. How much longer before the weight sparks something she can't put back. As the clock edges 8 p.m., Ava made a decision. She won't be invisible. She starts drafting an email, careful, measured, but clear. This time signs her name at the top. Early before the rest of the office fills with pint of burnt coffee. The city is still wrapped in that blue hour just before dawn. Her own footsteps echoing, and she walks toward her desk. She's barely slept. Email she sent last night, firm but diplomatic, clarifying her actual involvement, volunteer the committee only if she could shape its purpose, still hangs in finished thought. By 8:50, inbox is full. Replies are positive, light on substance. Appreciate your candor, Ava. Others feel like warnings disguised as compliments. Bold move. Let's discuss your vision. Further, there's one from Sterling's assistant, Mr. to meet with you. 10 a.m., his office. Ava reads it. The CEO's office is a place you're summoned to, not invited. She gathers her notes, double-checks her clothes, then catches her. She's always careful, always polished, always prepared to be in the room. At 10 sharp, she stings office. The view is panoramic. Glass round the city, bookshelves filled with awards and biographies of other men who once sat in rooms like that. Sterling stands, smiled, practiced, his handshake a little too firm. He gestures for her to sit. Ava, I wanted to personally thank you for... It's not easy to be a face for progress, especially like these. She measures her words. I appreciate the opportunity, but I want to be clear. I'm not here to be one symbol. If I'm going to lead something, it's to have real impact, not headlines. Sterling's eyes, amused, highly pleased. Of course, you understand the impetus, yes? We're under scrutiny. Investors want reassurance, a strong voice, someone like you. Well, it goes a long way. Ava feels the ground shift beneath her. This support or a warning? She leans in, steady. If you want real change, let me build the committee from the ground up. Give me autonomy. Let me decide the usual suspects. Otherwise, I'll step aside. The moment stretches. Sterling studies her, silent, and she wonders if she's gone far. But then he smiles, just a little. You're ambitious. I like that. Let's see what you can do. She leaves the office feeling but and exposed, the victory tasting faintly of something sour. Back at her desk, the shift is unmistakable. Co-workers offer cautious smiles. A few avoid her gaze. Thomas congratulates. Thinly veiled resentment. Tone. Whispers pass behind glass walls. Old friends become suddenly formal. The silent struggle is where that lands, then dies when he enters. A meeting, questions are redirected, her ideas echoed by someone else. An invitation to lunch rescinded at the last minute, maybe next week. By Friday, Ava feels like a ghost in her own life, visible when convenient. heard only when useful. The committee has its first meeting scheduled, but approving the agenda first. She spends her proposals, replaying conversations, wondering who's on side and who's keeping score. She catches herself looking out over the longing for escape, for a place where she does to be strong every second day. But then she remembers her mother's words. You are the proof. The door stays up when you refuse to let it close behind you. Ava closes her laptop. Spine straightening is silent, yes, but it's also a map etched in who sits where, who's listened to, who's always waiting. Ava has traced those invisible lines 1,000, careful never to step where she's not in. But now the lines are shifting. The first committee meeting is set for Tuesday. By Monday, Ava is still with HR's agenda. She spent hours drafting backup plans, knowing full original ideas, real change, not photo ops, make it through untouched. 50 Tuesday, she gets the green light. The agenda is stripped bare. Introduction, company mission, floor for diverse perspectives, nothing about hiring, mentorship, pay equity, nothing about the real reasons people leave. Ava walks into the glass-walled conference room, her folder heavy with unsanctioned notes. The room fills slowly. 3 colleagues she barely knows, an HR manager and Daniel, who always greets her in the elevator. His eyes hope, nervous smiles. The HR man, we're here to listen. Ava, why don't you start? Ava hesitates, launches in. I'd like us to talk about real barriers, not just statistics or mission statements. Who gets promoted, overlooked, how changes the speed of a press release. A long pause. The HR manager fidgets with her pen. Daniel nods, then clears his throat. I think what Ava's saying is important. I've noticed the same thing. Opportunities always seem to go to the same people. If we're serious about this, maybe we should get honest feedback. For us, and Ava feels something like relief. An ally, maybe. Cuts in, chill. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're here to create a positive message. The meeting ends with no decisions, promises to circle back. Ava leaves, but he lingers by the door. He lowers his voice. Don't give up. People are paying attention, some of it more than window dressing. She thanks him. His a comfort and a warning. In between ally and bystander is thin. Ava has learned not to trust encouragement. That a memo slipped under her office door. No sender, just a live type. Keep pushing. You're not on around. Empty hallway, no one in sight. Is it Daniel? Someone else? For a brief moment, she feels the energy shift inside her. Lines are real, but maybe they can be moved. As the week goes on, Ava notices new boundaries. Meetings she's no longer invited to, jokes she's not included, praise for her passion, but a chill when she speaks at real change. By Friday, a rumor starts swirling. Someone is saying she's making trouble, trying to get ahead. Playing ace card. Ava hears her name in whispered conversations. She sees colleagues' faces harden when she walks by. She goes home that night with the city lights flickering outside her window. She wonders how to prove herself before she's allowed to email one last time. A message from Daniel. Subject, for what it's worth. They may not say it out loud, but you're making people think nothing. Ava closes laptop, heart pounding, not with fear, with resolve. Invisible lines don't stay invisible forever. Someone draws them out with a calendar. Strategic direction. All leadership 9 a.m. boardroom B. Almost ignores it. She's not leadership, at least not in title, but her name is on the list between department heads and VPs. The HR manager encourages her to attend. It's a great chance to show your initiative, Ava. Mr. Sterling will be there. She spends the night before reviewing company reports, memorizing facts, replaying the committee meeting in her mind. She wonders if she's being set up to fail or to perform. The boardroom is any space she's worked in. Glass walls, leather chairs, 12 people, each with their own language of power, crossed arms, clipped laughter. The way conversation floats around Sterling like satellites orbiting a star. Sterling enters last. He greets her, then directly at Ava. His smile is warm but measured. Let's begin. The discussion spins fast. Q3 pretends partnership deals, headsons. Sits at the edge, taking notes, keeping her body language neutral. New initiative. Sterling to Ava, perhaps you can share your thoughts on our diversity committee. What's working? Improve. Every eye turns. Ava's heart thuds, but she draws a breath. finds her voice. We've had strong engagement, but I think we need more than engagement. We need transparency, real about pay, promotion over. I'd like to see us address the gaps, not optics. A short silence. A VP speaks up and patronizing. Important perspective, but these things, we've already made progress. Sterling lifts a hand. Progress is good, but let's not be complacent. Ava, can you prepare a report with your recommendations for next month? She nods, careful not to show her relief or her. The meeting moves on and says Sterling, but as the boardroom empties, a senior manager, Laura, hangs back. She leans in close, voice low. Be careful, Ava. Right way to make change here, and a wrong enemies. Ava meets her gaze. Laura's mouth twitches, somewhere between a smirk and regret. If you find it, by afternoon, word of the meeting is everywhere. Congratulate Ava, too brightly. Others ignore her. Her manager, Thomas, her in the hall. You went off script, he says, eyes cold. With me. Ava's fists clench at her sides. Asked a question, honestly, disappointed. Honesty isn't always the best policy. You'll learn. But Ava has already learned. Silence is safer, but it erases you. Still, every move now feels like a risk. There's a shift in how colleagues approach her. Some offer advice, most keep their distance. Even Daniel, her quiet ally, seems more cautious. His encouragement now, just a glance. Sterling, for his part, is a short email. Impressive presence in the meeting. Let's talk next week. No promises, just enough to keep her going. That night, Ava dreams of glass walls and closed doors, of voices discussing her future in rooms she'll never. Wakes before racing. She texts her mother, "Are you awake?" A moment later, her phone rings. Her mother's voice is unwavering. You don't need permission to stand for what's right, but be ready. The higher you climb, the colder it gets. Ava listens, the warmth growing in her chest. She knows the cost of courage. She just hopes she can afford it. Next, the unseen war behind the company's polished image. At resistance and invisible battles threaten to change everything. Let me know if you'd like to keep going or adjust anything before we enter the next phase. Você diz? Texto ChatGPT diz, absolutely. The battle beneath the surface grows sharper, and Ava must decide how much more she's willing to risk. Chapter 6. The unseen. The first shot comes quietly. It's Ava in for a meeting with Stirk, knots with equal parts dread and anticipation. She knows the report she's preparing could make waves, but she also knows every data point is a loaded question. Whose side is she? Daniel appears at her cubicle, eyes ding up. Be careful, email. It's flagged a couple of your messages for review. It's the network. Ava stares at her chest tightening. Who told you? He shrugs. Just watch your back. She thanks him, nerves rattling. Is she paranoid, or is the ground shifting beneath her? She finishes her hard copy and locking it in her desk. When Sterling calls, she feels Evra and in the hallway. His office is bright, the city skyline blazing behind. Mood. Too good. He glances at her folder and gestures for her to sit. Ava, you're making a name for yourself, he says. But be mindful. People here who don't like disruption. Lonely at the... She knows a warning when she hears one. She hands him the report. Careful not to betray. Sterling flips through it, nods, then closes the folder. I appreciate initiative, but you're not just representing yourself. Anymore, people watch. Don't burn out before you make real change. As the unspoken threat. Know your place or risk everything. Things get stranger. Emails go missing from her inbox. She's left off a project she'd started. Laura, the senior manager who warned her, pulls her aside in the hall. I was in your seat once. Don't fight alone, Ava. Find leverage. Find protection. Ava listens. Anger. Is that how you survived? Laura's eyes flicker. It's how I'm still here. As the subway home, head bowed. She thinks of all the unspoken alliances, the betrayals, the way resistance, not shouting but with silence. She can't, maybe not even, but as she steps off the train, her phone buzzes. It's a number. Keep pushing. Some of us are with you. Stay visible. She feels something shift in maybe the war in her. Maybe that's the point. Morning, she finds her proposal about pay equity. Redlined, revision, no explanation. Sticky note. Too ambitious. Simple. She takes it as a challenge. Shrinking her vision, she drafts 2 proposals. One safe, one bold. She sends both. HR manager. Within minutes, Daniel messages her. Can't ignore both. Smart. But at lunch, Thomas corners her again. You're making enemies, Ava. Day I didn't warn you. She looks at him. The enemies are just of change. The day ends with a sense of the air. Colleague whispers rising and falling, eyes following Ava as she walks the floor. She feels more alone than ever, but for the first, she senses fear on the other side too. Ava's home that night, exhausted but unbroken, watching the city lights flicker and realizing every war leaves scars. Every act of resistance, seen or unseen, reshapes the battlefield. End of chapter. Next, breaking point. Ava faces a moment that will force a choice, one she can undo. Shall I keep going? Você diz next. Oh, ChatGPT DC, let's push Ava to the edge. Every act of resistance, every compromise comes crashing down in a moment she can't walk away from. Breaking point. Friday. The city's rush of eager for the weekend, but in tow, a storm is gathering and no one quite avonding knowing something is about to snap. She finds Daniel waiting by her desk. They're holding a closed-door meeting he whispers. Only managers and exec. There's talk about your committee, your proposals. Someone's pushing hard to cut your project. Ava feels her hands tremble. For months, she's carried the weight of silence, the burden of the ache of being both too visible and never seen. Now either she bends or she breaks. She spends the morning replaying every decision, every risk, every time she spoke up would have disappeared. She thinks about Laura, Daniel's encouragement, her mother's voice on the phone. At 11:30, email, Ava, please join. No subject, no detail. Her pulse hammers as she walks down the hallway. Faces turn, the editor is silent. When she enters the room, Sterling is at the head of the table. Surrounded by managers, Thomas, Laura, the Ava she's never met. Sterling gestures to a chair. Have a seat, Ava. She sits, hands folded. Sterling's smile is thin. There have been concerns of your committee. Some feel which is device that it's creating more tension than unity. Thomas adds, we value your contributions for someone else to take, someone more neutral. Ava feels her. She looks at Laura, who stares at her hands. Daniel's not in the room. The air pushes a folder across the table. They're asking you to decide effective immediately. You'll keep your position, but you're off the committee. Your proposals be reviewed. In turn, there it is, the quiet side dressed as professionalism. Ava breathes in, deep, slow, fighting urge to shout, to cry, to stand and storm out. She finds her voice, steady but trembling. Done to ask. I brought real issues, real solutions. If honesty makes people uncomfortable, maybe that's the conversation we need. Sterling's exchanges. Thank you, Ava. We appreciate your passion. She stands. Her body shakes. She walks, aware that career, her identity, hangs in the balance. The rest of the afternoon is a blur. She finds her desk cleared of committee files. Emails vanish from her inbox. Co-workers avoid her eyes. By 5, she's alone. Daniel finally appears, his face heavy with regret. I'm sorry, he whispers. Tried to say something. Laura did too, but Ava nods. Understands. They're all surviving. On the way home, Ava sits in a nearly empty subway car, tears blurring the city lights. She wonders if it was worth it, if any of it mattered. Was her courage just another brick in someone else's wall? Then she remembers her mother's words about leaving the next person, about fighting, but for change that lasts. She wipes her eyes and stands as her approaches. The sea hums. Ava is still standing. Tomorrow, she tells herself, she'll decide what to do next. The city wakes with a silver-grey haze, and Ava lies on her bed, staring at the ceiling, haunted by questions that let her sleep. She spent years learning how to outlast expectations, but now there's nothing left to hide behind. Every mask, every compromise has been stripped away. If she's lost or just free, she drags herself out of bed, pours cold coffee into a mug, and scrolls through her phone. Messages from her mother, proud of you, whatever you decide. Daniel's apology from the night before. Silence the company. No one at work expects her to show up. Maybe they hope she won't. But Ava walks in, head held high. She passes Thomas in the lobby. He nods without meeting her. HR looks surprised to see her, as if she's a ghost returned. Her inbox is a single message from Laura. Line. Lunch? Ava meets Laura at a small cafe down the block. Laura's smile is her eyes shadowed by years and battles. They're afraid of you now, Laura, straight to the truth. You showed them the cracks. They'd rather patch them than fix them. Seen it before. Ava sips her coffee, bitterness burning her tongue. So what do you do? shrugs, but there's no satisfaction. Most do, or they leave. The company wins either way. Ava wants to scream. Instead, she looks out the window at the city streaming by. What if you don't? What if you force the cracks open wider? Laura's voice is quiet. That's when you find out who's really listening. Back at her desk, Ava opens her old. She prints emails, gathers her proposals, copies evidence of pay gaps and ignored complaints. She writes a letter, clear, specific, honest, no accusations, just facts. She sends it not but to the board of directors, to the company's outside legal counsel, press content on Coa's website. Within an hour, her phone rings. It's Sterling. What are you doing? He answers with a question. Are you more worried about or your reputation? He sighs, the mask slipping. You're making this harder than it needs to be. Ava closes her eyes, feeling a strange calm. Maybe that's the point. Word spreads fast. Daniel stops by her desk, eyes wide. You really did it. She nods, heart racing. Just walk away. That afternoon, HR calls her in. It's not a you, it's a negotiation. Why are you doing this, Ava? They ask. She looks them in the eye. Because you can't fix what you refuse to see. By the end of the rumors swirl, news out, the board wants meetings. Sterling's name is whispered. With something like fear. Some workers connectly, others avoid her of getting too close. Laura stairwell. No matter how this ends, you change something, even if it's just for a moment. Ava nods, tears stinging her eyes. But is a moment enough? Laura squeezes her shoulder. Sometimes a moment is all it takes. As night falls, Ava stands outside the building, the city breathing around her. She feels at once fear, exhaustion, relief. Ocean will change, or maybe everything. But tonight, Ava is still here, and so is the truth. Email, the office is transformed. There's a hush in the air, electricity. Conversations dry up when she walks past. Eyes then circle back, hungry for gossip. Ava feels every glance, curiosity, respect, suspicion, even a flicker of envy. Her phone buzzes non-stop. No numbers. A few from local journalists. Most she ignores. Her desk, stealing her breath. The emails start rolling in. The board acknowledges her complaint, promises an investigation. HR insists on a formal process. Colleague writes, "Thank you, for the rest of us couldn't." Rival whispers as she passes, "Careful, they'll make an example of you." By mid-morning, Daniel appears, holding 2 coffees. He sits beside her, voice low. "Are you okay?" Ava shrugs her voice. "No, but I'm still here." He hands her the coffee. The rumors are wild. Some people are scared, but there are others they're rooting for you. Even expect. Ava smiles, a fragile. It feels like everyone's watching and no one wants to stand next to. Daniel looks away. Not fair, but you made them see. Throughout the weeks, aftershocks shake the company. Town hall is hastily announced with Sterling addressing concerns. A handful of managers, including Thomas, are pulled into closed-door meetings. Called in, then returns, pale-lipped. Several colleagues reaching out, sharing wage gaps, missed promotions, but there's backlash too. Ava finds her doubled for time off, lost in some friend, afraid to be seen on her side. Sterling calls her in, this time alone, his voice smooth as silk, but his words barbed. "I hope you're satisfied," he says, his mask all but gone. "You've created chaos. You've hurt people who help you." Ava meets his gaze unblinking. "Anyone. I just told the truth." Sterling sighs. "Sometimes that's worse." He offers a package, severance, glowing references. If she leaves, no more noise. Ava hesitates, the weight of exhaustion settling on her shoulders. For a moment, she considers it. Just disappear, start her somewhere else, where her name isn't legend. But then she thinks of the messages, Daniel, of Laura, of the anonymous voices reaching out from the shadows. She stands. "No, thank you, for now." The weeks drag on. The investigation is slow, tangled in bureaucracy. Ava becomes a beacon, her presence a silent air to everyone around her. Some start speaking up, emboldened courage. Others hunker down, waiting storm to pass. One night as she leaves late, Laura catches her at the elevator. "You made them listen, Ava. Even if nothing changes, you broke the silence. Don't let that away from you." Ava nods, her longing for justice, for peace, for just a day where she isn't fighting. Outside, the city is alive with rain and neon. She breathes in, knowing what tomorrow will bring, but certain she will face it on. Spring sneaks the city, softening corn, brightening the skyline. Is different, thick with anticipation, and, beneath it all, stubborn hope that something real might finally break. Ava feels it the moment she enters the building. Who once avoided her now meet her eyes, even only for a heartbeat. Daniel starts a small act of rebellion. Line between danger blurs. Ava no longer flinches. The investigation inches forward. The board schedules interviews with staff, real face-to-face conversations. The HR manager who once dogged Ava now asks, "Is there anything you want to add?" Small question, but Ava seizes it, sharing the names of colleagues with stories like hers. The silence starts to splinter. Out of nowhere, help arrives outside. A journalist from a major paper emails Ava directly. She's read the anonymous tips, pieced together the patterns. She wants to hear Ava's story, not for scandal, but for truth. For this time, Ava feels her experience validated by someone with nothing to gain but the facts. Ava hesitates, worried about what it means for her future. But after a long night of restless pacing, she says yes. The article at first, no headlines, just a human story, names with truth laid bare. But it spreads. Colleagues read it. So do people from other companies, strangers from across the city, family members who never knew what Ava carried alone. The mood at work shifts to revolution, no longer business as usual. Two young analysts, gratitude shining in their eyes. "You said," one whispers. "You made them see us," says the other. Laura, once so careful. "You started something," she says, her voice softer. "I've decided to tell my story to the board, to the paper. Even Sterling is different now, touchable, more guarded." He tries to rally his inner circle, but people are watching him, questioning decisions that once the executive suite no longer feels like another world. In a staff meeting, Daniel stands and supports Ava's proposals. His voice strong, his message clear. Ava is. Others join in. The board listens, not just to placate, but to understand. HR implements new processes for promotions, pay reviews and grievances. There are still skeptics, still those who grumble about correction, but a tide has turned, and no one can pretend otherwise. Late one night, Ava walks home through red streets. Her phone buzzes with a message from an unknown number. "You don't know me, but because of you, I'm speaking up tomorrow." "Thank you." Ava smiles, a tremor of relief, pride coursing through her. She knows there will be more days when the world feels indifferent. But now she is certain of something she once doubted. A change is slow, but it is possible, and it starts with a single voice refusing to disappear. The office feels different, but nothing is easy. Change is never simple, never complete, and Ava knows it. The official investigation ends with carefully worded memos, commitments to review policies, and a reorganization in leadership. Sterling keeps his title, but his power is diluted. Thomas is different, out of influence. Ava is offered a new role, diversity and inclusion. It sounds like, but she hesitates. She's not sure she wants to spend days managing optics of building something real. She's not sure she trusts this newfound respect, now glass-walled and filled with sunlight. "You can job description," she says, a smile in her voice. "They're scared you'll leave. They're even more scared you'll stay." Ava considers it. She thinks of the voices who came forward after her, the stories shared in whispers, the notes under her emails. Thank you more. For every step forward, she's herself pulled back by doubts, by the exhaustion of always fighting, the loneliness that activism can bring. She meets with Daniel in the city's noise, just background hum. "Don't know if it's enough," she confesses. "One article, a few policy changes. Will it last? Or is it just for show?" Daniel shrugs, offering her a gentle smile. "Nothing lasts unless someone keeps pushing, but you're not alone anymore. That's different. You made it different." Back at work, Ava drafts proposal, what she wants, what she believes the company owes its people. She delivers it directly to the board, refusing to let Sterling filter her words. Their response is careful, but not dismissive. Meetings are scheduled. Ava insists open forums, anonymous feedback, real action, not just statements. Some executives grumble, but others surprise her, offering genuine support or quiet apologies. But not all victories are public. Not all costs are visible. Ava's relationships change. Ships are lost. Some are forged in the heat of crisis. The company's image improves, but she hears the firms who read about her, who want advice, who are quietly starting own fights. Months pass. The work is slow, frustrating. Ava feels the burden acutely, but also a new steadiness, no longer tied to what the company think, but to what she knows is right. She visits her mother, sitting in the small kitchen where her mother holds her hands. Knew you'd be the one. Silence. Ava smiles, tears rising. I wish I didn't have to. Her mother squeezes her hand. But you did, and you did it well. Back in, Ava sits by the window, the city spread before her, reflects on all that's changed and all that hasn't. She knows the struggle isn't over. She knows there'll always be more work, more injustice, more people waiting for someone to make but for tonight she allows herself a victory. She breathes in, at peace with the ambiguity. Battles aren't won or lost, they simply continue. Ava has changed the shape of the fight, and that, she knows, is enough for now. Months slide by. The seasons turn. The skyline grows and shifts, but some things in the city, the busyness, the rush, the small hopes, remain the same. So does Ava in some ways. In others, she's someone she barely recognizes. Tougher, yes, but softer too, able to rest. News about Sterling & Co. fades from the headlines. The company changes, not overnight, but in the daily details. New faces in meetings, policies rewritten, more honest conversations in rooms and late-night emails. Ava sometimes sees people she mentored, faces that used to flinch, now looking her straight in the eye. Other firms reach out for advice. Journalists call. Her LinkedIn inbox fills with messages. Some grateful, some angry, most curious. She answers what she can, but from a sense that stories like her deserve to keep moving. Ava's with the company is complicated. Some days she's proud of what's changed. Other days she aches for all the work left undone. She takes her new role, but on her terms, insisting it be real. More than PR. She demands funding, hires a team, creates space for others to lead. It's messy and imperfect, but it's progress. She walks home some nights beneath cities, remembering who she was, the first day she set foot in tired, hungry, afraid of making the wrong impression. She thinks about the invisible, the closed doors, the risks she took that sometimes felt foolish. The memory, but pride to this house she finds peace. The kitchen is still warm, still smells of coffee and cinnamon. Her mother is older, but her eyes shine in steady fire. They talk less about work now and more about dreams, about the life Ava is building, about the lives she's quietly helped change. Daniel stays in touch. Her messages when the work feels sometimes just a silly to make her laugh. Laura, too, checks in. Her own career has courage. Her friendship reassures that old wounds can heal. The real change, Ava discovers, is not just in the company, but in herself. She speaks more boldly now, listens more closely. Instincts. She's learned that justice isn't a single, but 1,000 small choices made every day by people who refuse to give up. One morning, months stand, Ava receives a simple note on her desk, unsigned, "Because of you, I stayed. Thank you." She smiles, slips her bag, and stands by the window. The city stretches out, alive with stability and imperfection. Ava doesn't know what the future holds, but she knows one thing for sure. She is no longer invisible, no longer alone to space. Echoes fade. They grow, becoming the music beneath every new